Middle East diplomacy, temporarily transferred to New York this week, can snarl up the city's traffic, but it still seems unable to match the big challenges of a conflict that is once again looking dangerous.
It is time for us to say, not on our watch.
Supporters of both sides were there. Israel's keeping the pressure on the Obama administration to veto any Palestinian application for UN membership.
1 million people say,
make Palestine a state.
And pro-Palestinians pushing for a seat at the UN as a giant step towards independence.
1 million people say.
Even with the prospect of an American veto, the Palestinians are already claiming some victories. They've put back the issue not just of UN membership, but of their eventual independence back on the international agenda in a way that it simply wasn't before.
A year ago, here at the UN, President Obama called for a Palestinian state within 12 months. If anything, it looks further away now than it did then. His strong message, taking Israel's side, was that Palestinian membership of the UN would bring peace no closer.
Peace will not come through statements and resolutions at the United Nations. If it were that easy, it would have been accomplished by now. Ultimately, it is the Israelis and the Palestinians who must live side by side. Ultimately, it is the Israelis and the Palestinians, not us, who must reach agreement on the issues that divide them, on borders and on security, on refugees and Jerusalem. We will never forget.
President Obama praised the way Arabs in Tunisia, Egypt and Libya had seized their freedom. But on the TV at the Palestinian delegation's hotel, they watched the speech believing that the Americans are blocking their attempt to do the same thing.
There's the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians.
He talked about the Arab Spring in glowing terms, but when it came to the Palestinians, there was no human empathy whatsoever. He talked about human empathy for the Israelis, who are our occupiers. But for us, we're supposed to just sit back and take it.
On the West Bank, occupied by Israel since 1967, Palestinians demonstrated for their UN seat. And there was a hint of what might happen if the diplomatic stalemate continues. The French president warned that a veto could cause another cycle of violence. But in New York, a grateful Israeli prime minister went to see the US president to tell him that opposing the Palestinian application was a badge of honor. America's president left for his next meetings. The old song about New York says that if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. That doesn't apply to making Middle East peace. There was nothing to sing about today.